Disclaimer. I genuinely don't give a fuck what the fuck anime you think is better or worse or whatever the fuck. I'm doing this because, one, I think it's funny, and I'm also just sick of Attack on Titan fans having only seen like 2 fucking anime in their entire lives. That's it. Anyway, enjoy the video. Truthfully, I had written 4 other scripts before this one. I did eventually want to write this script, but I thought it'd be way further into the future, but I guess I'm saying fuck it and being controversial now. The only reason I decided to push this one way above all the others is because I made the mistake of listening to the AOT soundtrack on YouTube by Hiroyuki Sawano, because that's my nigga. He just does not miss. As I was throwing ass in my room, I came across a comment that said, "There will never be an anime like this ever again." And I was like, are you smoking crack? Literally, I can name 8 other anime better than Attack on Titan. Frieren, Beyond Journeys, and Fullmetal Alchemist, and Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, counting them both as one, by the way. Hajime no Ippo, Death Note, which I literally made a fucking whole video on. Code Geass, Ghost in the Shell, Cowboy Bebop, Vinland Saga, and as a bonus, Tengen Toppa Gurren motherfucking Logon. Like, I'm sitting here, I'm just supposed to believe that? Hell, the Big 26 has been announcing some absolute monsters that, even though I've not seen some of them yet, their premises sound like they could be some heavy hitters not seen in a while. Like, don't get me wrong, okay? I don't have an issue with AOT being your favorite, like I said earlier, but never seen a better anime, will never see a better anime? You have not seen enough anime. You'd had to have started liking anime in like 2013 or 2020, because that is just flat out objectively fucking wrong. But then, after reading said comment on my lunch break, I made another mistake to see the replies to that comment, where someone said, perhaps you should watch Fullmetal Alchemist. And I was like, oh, phenomenal! Someone with a brain, a person of culture and class, most indubitably so. Then, another person replied to them, I love Fullmetal Alchemist with all my heart, and it's just not better than Attack on Titan.
Are you dumb? Pardon me?
I know yo ass fucking lying.
This man say doctor gave me 6 months. Hell, bro. I seen this nigga 3 years later.
We've lost the fucking plot if you think that truthfully, Attack on Titan doesn't even do racism better than Fullmetal Alchemist, and that's one of FMA's weaker story beats. Before somebody comes into my comments saying,
you just don't understand the intricacies and heavy political commentary of this intellectually profound media.
No, nigga! I know, okay, I'm not a fucking goddamn Jujutsu Kaisen fan, all of which have the attention span of 2.5 seconds. I have an attention of 5 seconds because I got that ADHD. But you should know by now, I love a yap session in an anime. However, Attack on Titan is a story that constantly expands its scope faster than it develops its ideas. Every time it introduces a bigger concept, it sacrifices the emotional foundation that made the earlier story in seasons 1 to maybe like 2.5 much more compelling. So, all of that to say, we're going to talk about why I think Attack on Titan is one of the worst anime I've ever watched. So, before I tear this anime a new asshole to make up for the one Titan's lack, I'm actually going to start off with what I do enjoy about Attack on Titan. I know, crazy concept, but I'm not making this completely out of spite. That only encapsulates, what, 80% of why I'm making this video? No, I give credit where credit is due, even if the final result is something I find horrific or terrible. For starters, like I stated earlier, love Hiroyuki Sawano. He's responsible for the soundtrack in Kill la Kill, Promare, 7 Deadly Sins, I hate that anime too. One of my favorite games of all time, Xenoblade Chronicles X.
No! No!
Hello, motherfucker.
Show us no!
Like, the man is phenomenal at creating music to get your blood pumping. There will never be any Hiroyuki Sawano slander in this house. I couldn't hate even if I wanted to. That's my guy! Also, Gurren no Yumiya, Shinzo wo Sasageyo, Red Swan. Beautiful. And of course, rumbling, it's coming, rumbling. Big. That shit killed my throat, dog, but I can't eat. Next, the animation is stunning, fluid, a masterclass in motion. Studio Wit early on really came in and did their thing, seeing as how personally, as someone who read and watched Attack on Titan, I don't really like Isayama's art style, like, at all. I fucking hate that shit. And I get it, but it's the ugliest shit I've ever seen. That's my opinion. I do not care. I think Wit and later on the goats of animation, MAPPA, came in and really brought the show to life through their work, especially the myriad of movements and expressions I think was lacking from the original work, really gave the series a makeover and uplift it seriously needed. Some of my favorite characters are Sasha Browse. I think she brings a much needed comedic relief to all the messed up shit going on. Annie Leonhardt, the female Tartan arc, is one of the stronger early arcs because Annie has this interesting conflict where she clearly isn't just some emotionless villain. I think Isayama set her up really well, but it's not finished very well, at least in my opinion, because she seals herself off and we don't get to see her again until damn well near the end of the fucking series, and that's a bit disappointing. Jean, also a character who changes and grows a lot. Armin, I feel is more of a stereotypical shonen character, like in personality and sort of like in ambition wise, that just isn't the main protagonist, but I think he always clutches up at like pivotal moments. That being said, I don't think his arc concludes in a way that is satisfactory because it takes a backseat during the Marley war arc kind of deal. Lastly, despite what I'll be saying about the series in its later halves, I do in fact enjoy Attack on Titan up until about maybe post-royal government arc. I really do enjoy the political aspects of the walls and how, even though at this point in time, it's supposed to be humanity's last safe bastion, and there's legitimately human-eating giants outside these walls reducing the population, niggas are still beefing over power. In my opinion, it's actually presented pretty realistically, like humanity's in a fucking crisis and people want complete dominion over like 1 million people. Because apparently humanity could be staring extinction directly in the face and someone would still go, yeah, but technically I should be in charge. Like, dude, the Titans are right outside. Can we maybe put the political dick measuring contest on hold for like 5 seconds? And that's actually where I think Attack on Titan's political writing works, when it's contained within the walls. When it's about the internal politics of humanity's last civilization, I think it's genuinely fascinating. The problem comes later when the series expands that conflict beyond the walls and tries to tackle the entire world. I really have next to little bad things to say about the arcs up until this point. Now, one criticism I do have about the earlier parts of the story is that I wish we had more character interaction. And by that, specifically, I mean, I think this affects more so Reiner and the Berthold reveal, because when they reveal themselves as the armored and colossal titans and kidnap Eren, this is supposed to be one of the biggest emotional betrayals in the series. And I understand why. These are people who have spent a lot of time with our main cast, like in the universe itself. This is supposed to be a very emotional and pivotal twist in the story, but I do not feel as though Eren specifically has bonded with Reiner, like maybe Armin, right? And other members of Squad 104 like Connie or Jean, but especially Berthold. As much as they try to depict it, I understand that perhaps putting any excessive focus on either of them and their interactions may have led people to realize their identities sooner, but I can only recall like maybe some things about Reiner. But at this moment, as I'm writing this, the only things I can recall about Berthold is that he slept weird, and I think the squad used to use that to determine the weather or something like that. Something like that is what I remember. Something cool that I read in an interview is that Isayama had this infamous sleeping pose be represented by the tarot card Hangman, which represents deception or fraud in reverse reading, which I think is pretty cool. But beyond that, I can't think of anything else about him. And I'm not the first person to say this, by the way. I found lots of threads online about how Berthold didn't really get enough screen time or enough information for us to know that much about him in the first place. In my opinion, it makes the traitor reveal kinda hollow to me personally, because the reveal is shocking, but shocking doesn't always equal emotional. A character can surprise me. That doesn't mean I care about them. Like, I didn't care. It's where the story starts to fall off for me personally. One last thing I'll say about the series early on is that it depicted despair very well, especially in season 1. It's honestly my favorite quality of Attack on Titan early on, when it was originally a survival horror kind of manga. Like, something good would happen to the cast, then immediately fucked up shit would happen right after to sort of squash the viewer or reader's hopes that this world is cruel. Every character felt vulnerable and that anyone could die off at any moment, and it had a sense of tension that I just do not think is replicated post Return to Shinganshina. But yeah, I hope you you enjoyed that section because that's all the praise for this dog shit you're gonna get out of me. We're going full gas. No brakes with the slander now, baby! Yes, sir! Can't wait for the death threat.
Kill you!
Yeah, so this part is probably gonna piss some people the fuck off because from my understanding, this is like the sacred cow of Attack on Titan, the Marley arc, the basement reveal, the moment where everybody collectively went, "Oh shit, this isn't just about giant naked people eating tiny people, this is about war, history, racism, imperialism, yada yada, blah 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 blah." Why did I do a Mickey Mouse impression? Oh, you know what? Whatever, bro. And don't get me wrong, I understand why people love this. This is the point where Attack on Titan completely changes genres. It goes from a high fantasy survival horror story about humanity fighting monsters to a political history drama about nations, propaganda, inherited trauma, and centuries of conflict. And honestly, on the surface, that is a really interesting idea. I don't have an issue with political dramas. Some of my favorite shows are literally built around politics. Scandal is one example, and for an anime equivalent, I guess Code Geass is probably one of the biggest ones. I love when stories get into governments, ideology, war, diplomacy, and people arguing about what the right thing to do is. So my criticism is not, Attack on Titan got political, we're fake news. Why did I do that impression? What's with me today? No, that's not the problem, because earlier in the video, I actually praised the politics inside the walls, and I still stand by that shit. When Attack on Titan's politics were confined to parodies, I think they worked pretty damn well. Why? Because the circumstances made fucking sense. This is supposed to be humanity's last bastion. A civilization trapped behind 3 giant walls, believing they are the last survivors of humanity, while literal man-eating monsters are outside waiting to turn them into their Postmates order. So of fucking course their politics are going to be somewhat near. Of course their society is going to be more isolated and rigid. Up until this point, these people literally did not know other civilizations existed. Like, before the time skip, these motherfuckers had never even seen a nigga before until on Yokapone. Their entire understanding of humanity was basically, yeah, we're the only ones left. Everyone else got eaten. Ball's political turmoil is mostly about who controls humanity's survival, who decides the future, and how much power the government should have. These are believable questions for that society. If someone thought they were executed poorly, which I don't, by the way, I'm speaking generally, I could still believe those conflicts naturally arise from the world Isayama established. But then, the basement happens, and suddenly the walls come down, literally and metaphorically, because now Attack on Titan has to answer a much bigger question. What does the rest of the world look like? And this is where my issues begin, because once you expand your story from one isolated civilization to an entire planet with different countries, cultures, governments, and ideologies, the standard changes drastically. You can't just have one believable society anymore. You have to make me believe the world exists beyond the characters we're following. And unfortunately, I don't think Attack on Titan does that nearly as well as, oh, who the fuck am I kidding, bro? This shit is ass compared to the mystery survival horror aspect of the show for the first 3.5 fucking seasons. And it all starts with Marley. I don't really care about a lot of these niggas. And before somebody gets mad and says, you're just not understanding the brilliance of Isayama making us empathize with the enemy. No, I understand what he was going for. The warriors are supposed to be a mirror of the Survey Corps. Reiner and Gabby are supposed to be somewhat parallels to Eren. The warrior candidates are supposed to remind us, hey, these aren't monsters, these are just children who were thrown into a horrible system. I understand the bands on their arms are a fucking Jewish Holocaust allegory. I'm not dumb. Conceptually, interesting. The problem is, I don't think the story spends enough time making me emotionally invested in them. Because here's the thing, we spent 3 seasons with the niggas on parody. In Marley, all I care about, somewhat, is that nigga Reiner. We watched Eren, Mikasa, Armin, Jean, Sasha, Connie, Levi, Hanji, Erwin struggle, suffer, grow, and lose, and lose, and lose, and fucking lose! Erwin fucking lost his life for this bullshit. These are the characters we've been following for years. I know their dreams, their fears, their personalities, somewhat, what they're fighting for. So when something happens to them, for the most part, I care because I've built a relationship with them as a viewer. Season 4 introduces an entirely new cast and lore, dumps the everlasting shit out of me, and essentially asks, okay, now care about these niggas too, over the course of 6 or so episodes. And I'm like, okay bitch, give me a reason. Because the issue isn't that Marley characters are bad. Some of them are actually really interesting, like Falco, who's kind of Gabby's Armin Mikasa / stand-in or whatever, and Reiner especially. The idea of an oppressed group becoming oppressors themselves, great concept. The idea of children being raised by propaganda and turned into weapons, pretty fucking interesting and pretty fucked up. Love that. Reiner is probably one of the best examples of that working in the story. He's genuinely complicated. He's a victim and a perpetrator. He's also a character that was around pre-time skip, so we actually spend a decent amount of time getting to know him and understand his MO better. He's someone who was hurt by a system, then became someone who hurt others because of that same system. That is interesting. That's a type of moral complexity Attack on Titan is really fucking good at. Like I said, I have to give credit where credit is fucking due. However, all that being said, the Liberio attack during Willy what the fuck ever his name is, Tiber's declaration of war didn't hit me the way I think the story wanted it to, because narratively, this is supposed to be one of the biggest turning points in this entire series. Willy Tiber gathers world leaders, ambassadors, military personnel, journalists, the works, alright? Because now I'm sitting here asking, if Marley has spent decades conquering and oppressing other nations with the 9 Titans, why would those same nations immediately trust Marley? Because Willy Tiber fucking said so with his royal family's nutsack and pussies? Like, come on, be so fucking for serious right now. Why is Hizuru basically the only country shown pursuing its own interests with parity? Where are the neutral nations? Where are the opportunists? Where are the anti-war politicians? Where are the countries saying, let's negotiate with parity before we declare war on the niggas who can literally flatten the entire planet? Not saying it would have worked, but I'm just saying, where are they? Where are the nations trying to use parity against Marley after just getting out of a war with them? Where are the governments questioning whether Willy Tiber's speech is just another attempt by Marley to preserve its military dominance? Why does it feel like almost every government reaches the exact same fucking conclusion just because Eren Yeager and the fucking military scouts attack Liberio and kill some fucking journalists, some military personnel? Like, okay, since when has that stopped governments in our world from literally doing whatever the fuck they want, even though some people died? Like, let's be so fucking for serious right now. Because that's what I mean when I say Attack on Titan's politics don't feel sufficiently explored. It's not that I don't believe people would hate Eldians. I absolutely do. It's that I don't believe an entire world of competing governments, economies, militaries, and political interests would all respond in basically the same fucking way. That's not how geopolitics work. And if you want to convince me this is one of the greatest political stories ever written, you gotta do a lot better than everybody just fucking hates Eldians because we say so, and that's what the plot needs right now, okay, nigga? Damn. He invites all these people, some of which were Marley's previous enemies. To be perfectly candid with you, I'm surprised some of these niggas even showed up. Even though they're in attendance, you're telling me every single person in that audience is immediately on board with declaring war on parity. Now, to be fair, there are a couple of people who don't seem fully convinced after hearing Willy Tiber's speech, but let me say this. Marley themselves have been using the power of 7, now 5, of the 9 Titans to wage war against other countries for years at this point. And if there's one thing I know about governments, it's that they're ass backwards, petty, greedy, and will sell out their own grandmas if it means securing a W. So I'm supposed to believe Hizuru is the only country looking at Parody Island and thinking, damn, those resources would be pretty fucking useful. Something about that just sounds incorrect. Listen, man, countries invade each other, fund proxy wars, overthrow governments, and stage coups because it benefits their own political or financial interests all the fucking time in our world. Now, don't get me wrong, Hizuru's a great start, but I refuse to believe every other fucking country in the world looked at Parody Island and collectively said, nah, we good. Especially when siding with Parody could potentially weaken Marley. The same fucking Marley that's been bullying half the fucking planet with Titans. Now, before somebody says, well, Eren attacked Liberio, of course everybody united against Parody. Sure, I buy that if public opinion shifts. I buy that governments suddenly take Eren a hell of a lot more seriously. What I don't buy is that everybody immediately arrives at the exact same fucking conclusion. Let's think about this for a second. Marley possesses the majority of the 9 Titans, like I said earlier a couple of times. They're the dominant military superpower. They're the ones who have the most to gain from invading Parody. They want the Founding Titan, they want Ice Burst Stone, they want to maintain their position as the world's strongest military. So, if I'm the leader of a country that just got done getting my ass waxed by Marley, why the fuck am I immediately trusting Marley? Wouldn't my first thought be, hold on, these niggas have been terrorizing us decades. Maybe they don't exactly have our best interests at heart. Wouldn't I at least ask, what's in this for us? Or can we negotiate with parity? Can we use parity? Blah, 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 blah. Anything. Now, to be fair, I completely understand why the rumbling terrifies the rest of the world. I'd be scared too, bitch. If another country had the ability to flatten the entire fucking planet, I'd probably lose a little sleep over that shit as well. Maybe I'd be boom, boom, click, click, bow, bow. But here's my question. They're only gonna start the rumbling if you fuck with Parody Island. At this point in the story, Parody isn't sailing around colonizing continents. It's been 100 years. They aren't invading foreign countries. They aren't declaring war on the world. I mean, technically they are. They literally just found out the rest of humanity even fucking exists. Meanwhile, Marley is the one that's been conquering nations. They're the ones who want the founding titan. They're the ones who are pushing for another invasion that they just fucking failed, by the way. And now they're gathering their entire world to say, hey, yo, let's go start a war with the motherfuckers who can flatten the entire fucking planet. Nigga, what? We know Eren isn't bound by King Fritz's vow anymore. So why is nobody asking, hey, before we potentially trigger the apocalypse, maybe we should at least try talking to this nigga first. I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying negotiations would have worked. I'm saying, why isn't anybody even suggesting it? Why isn't there an ambassador saying like, yo, this sounds like a terrible fucking idea? You know, why isn't there like a former Marley enemy thinking, you know what, maybe we let those two beat the shit out of each other? These are the kinds of questions I kept asking while watching season 4. Because from where I'm sitting, Marley, and by extension a good chunk of the world's leadership, comes across as the dumbest group of niggas I've ever seen. You're literally giving the people with the apocalypse button a reason to press the fucking apocalypse button. Like, these niggas aren't thinking like actual government officials or whatever. They're behaving in a way that benefits the plot. Now you're probably sitting there, barbecue sauce on your titties like, hey Moo, it's just an anime. It's not fair to compare it to our world and how politics work in our world. It'd take too long to tell the story. Au contraire, my good bitch. Take Code Geass, for example. Britannia is the main antagonistic force for the majority of the series, but it's not that cut and dry. There are people, countries, and factions, both inside and outside Britannia, that have all their own reasons for supporting it, opposing it, or simply using it to further their own personal fucking agendas. Yeah, the Black Knights under Zero are the primary resistance force, but you've got the Japanese Liberation Front, the Chinese Federation, the European Union, the Knights of St. Michael, the eunuchs, and countless nobles within Britannia itself, all pulling the story in different directions. Sometimes they're allies, sometimes they're enemies. Sometimes they'll work together for 5 fucking minutes before immediately trying to stab each other in the back because their goals no longer align. That is what makes the geopolitical drama so fucking interesting. Because there are very few moments where everybody wants the exact same thing. That's not how governments work. Every country has its own fucking priorities, its own economy, resources, fears, ambitions, and all of those competing interests create conflict. I'll even be fair and say Code Geass has its own bevy of flaws and plenty of shit I don't like. But that's not my point. My point isn't that Code Geass has perfect politics. My point is that it made me believe these countries had their own fucking agendas. It made me stop asking, why is everybody making the exact same decision? I could suspend my disbelief because the world felt like it was being driven by competing interests instead of everybody collectively marching toward the ending the plot wanted. And, as a side note, Attack on Titan is actually longer than Code Geass, so I don't really buy the argument there wasn't enough time. Because if a shorter series can establish multiple factions, competing political interests, temporary alliances, betrayals, and conflicting motivations, I don't think it's fucking unreasonable to expect Attack on Titan to do the exact same thing. Alright, now we get to the thing that completely breaks Attack on Titan for me. The fucking paths. Every time somebody explains this shit to me, I swear to God I end up more confused than when I started. The story tells me the paths can't be changed. Cool, I like that. That's simple. History is fixed. Then it tells me the Attack Titan can receive memories from future inheritors. Alright, we're getting a little weird, but I can still follow. Then all of a sudden, future Eren and Zeke are walking through Grisha's memories. Grisha starts reacting to them being there. Eren starts screaming at his daddy. Grisha starts crying. He hugs Zeke, and then Eren convinces Grisha to slaughter the Rice family and steal the founding Titan. Nigga, I thought y'all just told me the past couldn't be changed. Oh, Moo. He didn't change the past. He didn't! Because, from my perspective, Grisha was having a complete moral breakdown. He was about to bitch out. Then future Eren gives this nigga the greatest motivational speech since Coach Carter, and suddenly he's like, I bet and murders an entire bloodline, and then people tell me, well, actually that always happened. Bro, do y'all hear yourselves? So future Eren was always the reason Grisha stole the Founding Titan so Eren could inherit the Founding Titan, so future Eren could become the reason Grisha stole the Founding Titan. Oh my fucking, this shit's so fucking stupid, bro. Who started this shit? Oh, it's a bootstrap paradox. I know what it's called! Giving it a fancy science fiction name doesn't suddenly make me think it's clever. It just means the loop exists because it fucking exists. Then people get hung up on semantics. It's not time travel. Nigga, yes the fuck it is! I don't care if Eren didn't literally hop into a fucking DeLorean. If information is moving backwards through time, if people from the future are influencing decisions in the past, and if future memories are determining past events, that's time travel. You're just calling it something else. It's time travel with fucking DLC. But honestly, that's not even my biggest issue. My biggest issue is that the rules stop feeling consistent. If Grisha could perceive Eren and Zeke during the Rice Chapel scene, why is this the first fucking time? We've watched Grisha's memories before. Eren and Zeke have been standing right beside this man through multiple memories, and Grisha never once reacts. He never looks over his shoulder, he never stops mid-conversation, he never asks, who the fuck are these two niggas? But now, suddenly, he can see Eren, hear Eren, respond to Eren, hug Zeke, cry with Zeke, and basically have an entire fucking conversation with people who aren't supposed to physically fucking be there. And before someone says, well, that's because of the founder, Royal Blood, the Attack Titan, Ymir, and the past all intersecting at that moment. I know that's the explanation. My issue isn't that there isn't an explanation, it's that the exception never feels intuitive. It feels like the rules suddenly expand because the plot needed one of the coolest scenes in the entire series. Instead of feeling like a natural extension of the mechanics we had just learned or already learned, it feels like the mechanics changed to accommodate the scene. But even that isn't why I hate the paths. The reason I hate them is because I think they completely undermine the central theme of Attack on Titan. This entire fucking series is obsessed with freedom. The Survey Corps literally wear the wings of freedom on their backs. The first opening is Gurren no Yumiya, the second is Wings of Freedom. Then we get Shinzo wo Sasageo. Eren's entire motivation is seeing what's beyond the walls. Armin dreams about the ocean because it represents freedom. Historia rejects the life that was chosen for her. Ymir wants freedom. The Eldians want freedom. The warriors want freedom. Every major arc, every major speech, and every major sacrifice revolves around humanity's pursuit of freedom. Then season 4 comes along and basically tells me Eren was always going to inherit the Attack Titan, always going to manipulate Grisha, always going to start the rumbling, and always going to reach this exact ending because history had already been written. And what the fuck are we talking about? How can you spend 4 seasons telling me this man's most defining characteristic is his relentless pursuit of freedom, only to reveal that every major decision in his life was predetermined? People always tell me, well, Eren still chose those things because that's what he wanted. Okay. But if there was never another possible outcome, then in what meaningful sense was there ever a choice? By that meaning, you're essentially telling me Eren is free because he willingly walked down the only road that ever fucking existed. That's not freedom, that's fate. Eren is not the freest character in the story. He's the biggest prisoner in it. Not imprisoned by Marley or the walls or the Titans, but destiny itself. And that's what frustrates me the most. I understand Attack on Titan has other themes. The cycle of hatred, revenge, war, human nature. I get all that. But you made freedom the emotional core of Eren's journey. You put the wings of freedom on the Survey Corps. You named openings after freedom or things related to it. You built speeches, sacrifices, the entire character arcs around this idea. So when the ending tells me Eren was always destined to become exactly who he became, I can't help but feel like the story is arguing against one of the very ideas that made it so fucking compelling in the first goddamn place. What's even more fucking frustrating is that the story itself is the one that taught me to care about this theme in the first goddamn place. It wasn't just Eren, it was the entire fucking world. The Survey Corps didn't throw themselves into the mouths of Titans because they believed fate had already decided everything. They fought because they believed humanity could carve out a future with their own hands. That's what made Eren's speeches so powerful. That's what made Armin's optimism so inspiring. That's what made Eren's rage so fucking compelling. They weren't just fighting Titans, they were fighting against the idea that their lives were already decided for them. Then the paths come along and tell me that the most important character in the story was always walking a road he could never fucking leave. To me, that completely undercuts everything the series spent years building. You can tell me it's tragic, you can tell me it's poetic, you can tell me it's ironic, I don't give a shit. If your story spends 4 fucking seasons celebrating the pursuit of freedom, only to reveal that your protagonist never had the ability to meaningfully alter his own fate, then I think you've undermined your own central fucking thing. Because the most interesting version of Eren Yeager isn't a man fulfilling a destiny that was written before he was born. It's a man making impossible choices, living with those consequences, and wrestling with the weight of his own freedom. That's infinitely more compelling than watching someone unknowingly fulfill a script the universe had already handed him. It's so fucking unsatisfying. It's so boring. It's so fucking boring. It's not a satisfying fucking conclusion. It goes against the very fucking ideas that made me fall in love with the series in the first fucking place. Well, we've reached the end of the video, but not the end of my disdain. If you made it this far, I got some more shit to get off my chest. Some of it's nitpicking, admittedly. Some of it's legitimate criticism, so you've been warned. With all that said...
3, 2, 1, go!
Like I said before, AOT doesn't even do racism better than Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood's depiction of racism isn't perfect. I wish it showed more everyday racism from regular Amestrians, but it constantly examines the aftermath of genocide, systemic oppression, poverty, revenge, forgiveness, and the people responsible for it. AOT mostly uses racism to get the plot where he needs to fucking go. When Reiner gets his whole fucking head blown off, Berthold says he transferred his consciousness throughout his entire body, which is the biggest load of fucking horseshit I've ever heard of in my entire fucking life. He should have fucking died. Armin getting turned into a slice of burnt-ass Texas toast before this nigga got deep fried by the Colossal Titan and somehow lived is also horseshit. He should have fucking died too. Then we got these motherfuckers arguing over who gets the Titan serum like this nigga ain't already well done with a side of barbecue sauce. What a load of absolute fucking cheese! I can believe broken ribs. I can believe surviving a gunshot. Hell, I'll suspend my disbelief for some anime bullshit every now and then. But being charbroiled alive? Fuck out of here! And speaking of horseshit, can we talk about Karl Fritz for a second? This nigga says Eldia deserves to perish because of what their ancestors did. Why? The average Eldian didn't conquer continents. They didn't commit genocide. They weren't kings. They weren't generals. They're just regular ass people trying to live their lives. So because your great-great-great-great-granddaddy was an asshole, your children deserve to die? Nigga, that makes no fucking sense. Then, this pacifist ass king who supposedly hates war decides to create the single greatest weapon in human history by stuffing millions of colossal titans inside the walls. Why? Your entire philosophy is war bad, so your solution is to build the anime equivalent of nuclear weapons? Then you tell the entire world, don't fuck with parody or I'll flatten the planet, only for us to find out, LOL, JK, I was bluffing. Nigga, what? That's not a bluff! A bluff is pretending you have a gun! You built the fucking gun! Not only did you build the gun, you left the launch code sitting on the kitchen table! What's even crazier is your entire plan depends on nobody ever stealing the Founding Titan. In a world where people have been stealing Titan's powers for centuries! Marley stole Titans. The Great Titan War happened because Titan powers changed hands. Grisha stole the Founding Titan. Eren inherited both of those fuckers. The whole fucking story is built on people stealing Titan powers. So, at no point did this nigga stop and think, maybe I should install a couple more safety nets before I leave behind the anime equivalent of the fucking nuclear launch codes. Did this nigga not have advisors? Nobody looked at him and said, Your Majesty, respectfully, this plan has a couple of holes in it, my nigga. Really, your entire master plan is hopefully nobody steals it. Nigga, that's literally what people have been doing this whole fucking time! And then when Eren gets the founder, finds a loophole with Zeke's royal blood, and starts the rumbling, I'm supposed to be shocked? No, I'm shocked Karl's plan lasted as long as it fucking did. That shit wasn't a master plan. That shit was held together by duct tape, prayer, and blind fucking optimism. Anyways, I'm done beating this dead horse before Isayama finds a way to transfer its consciousness into its fucking hooves. Listen, we can all be base and have fantastic taste like me. I get it. Listen, I'm saying this for all you who got into anime in 2013 or 2020 during COVID. It's okay to be mid. Mid just means mediocre. Doesn't mean it's horrible, just means it's got a few problems. Some of which are more damning than others. But I digress! I enjoy a mediocre anime or two. Some mediocre anime that I enjoy would be Bleach, My Hero Academia, Lucky Star, Chainsaw Man, Dragon Ball past the Cell Saga only, so like Super, GT, etc. High School of the Dead, Hajimete no Gao's not even mediocre, it's just actual fucking garbage. Sometimes you enjoy garbage, you know? Call that Mission Baby because it's time to fucking abort, it's so dog shit. Holy shit, okay? Mediocrity can still be enjoyable. Attack on Titan just happens to be fucking mediocre. Now let me put you on some game. Some real actual fucking good anime. Young Blood, Samurai Champloo, Cowboy Bebop, Odd Taxi, Fooly Cooly, Gurren Lagann, One Piece, So no Freyre, Madoka Magica, Vinland Saga, which is Attack on Titan if it was good, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, because clearly you didn't understand that it's one of the GOATs for a fucking reason. And then after you finish watching Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, watch it again after that. It's not even my fucking favorite anime of all time. And I know the shit's the GOAT. Like, niggas don't glaze Full Metal Alchemist for no fucking reason. It's nearly perfect. Some would argue it is perfect. And if you don't like FMA, it's aight. Not everybody can have good taste. It's okay to have shit taste in the big 26. Niggas have shit taste all the time. It says nothing about you as a person. You just have shit taste. But I don't want to see you in the streets disrespecting the GOAT, lying on the GOAT. Hiromu Arakawa's the fucking LeBron James of anime. I'll take that shit to my fucking grave. If I see you lying on Fullmetal Alchemist, I'm gonna have to slide for Hiromu James. I don't care who the fuck you are. You could be my fucking grandma, God even. I'm rocking the shit out of you, fucking anime con. You won't know it's me until you're in the fucking wee-woo wagon from me going upside your fucking cranium with a piece of 2x4 with nails in it. But it's aight. Not everybody can be based and correct about media like me, you fucking numbskull. Attack on Titan's better than Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. You're smoking disease, black tar heroin off the ground. Cock! Fuck out of here with all that noise. Niggas just be lying on the internet for no fucking reason. We should have gate kept anime from you bitch ass niggas.